Monday, March 14, Pi Day at school. Might be able to see this interesting thing called sunshine. We actually had a fairly good weather weekend Saturday, Sunday. Bit of light rain Sunday night, but I was able to get some stuff done this weekend. I hadn't been really paying very close attention to COVID figures and that sort of stuff because they're not really being published and pushed out there as much as they were before during lockdowns. It's nice that we're open up. Things are open, you can go places, work's open. As soon as they remove that mask mandate, the fact that it's not mandatory, a lot of people have just gone, well, I'm not wearing one. I subscribe to like the New South Wales Health Twitter feed. It got pushed out to me on the weekend and it was COVID figures for Australia. Friday, there was over 20,000 new cases. Over 14,000 of those were just in New South Wales. The other 6,000 were in Victoria. I don't know about the other states, so it had no figures for them. So 20,000 was just 2 East Coast states. Still pretty high hospitalisation, still some decent number of deaths. They've kept winding back the restrictions. If a family member tests positive, then the people in the household are supposed to isolate for 7 days. So it's no longer 14, it's 7 days. If a work colleague tests positive, then other work colleagues don't need to isolate because we're not considered close enough contacts. It's just households that they consider close contact. We've had a few staff who've had to work from home for a week because their kids have caught it at school or daycare or wherever. And I think for the most part, most people are just getting mild symptoms. Keep doing rat tests every other day for work. I did mine last night, so it wasn't a case of do it this morning and then go, oh, I've got tested positive. I don't know if you'd have much of a difference like from last night to this morning. We had to go into the city Saturday, where we went actually had the check-in. Not all places have the QR code check-ins now. And yesterday we get this alert via the app saying that there was somebody who has tested positive who was at the same place as you during that time. And my wife was saying, I bet it was those people who weren't wearing their mask. It's like, stands to reason, if you're not getting around wearing a mask, then you're probably going to catch it, aren't you? So most people in that venue were wearing them, but there were a few people who weren't. Anyway, monitor for symptoms, and the fact that I've got to get tested for work anyway means that I'm being checked, and we've got extra rat tests at home. And I'd really love everything to be back to the way it was before 2020 in terms of how you had to get around and everything. Like, I like my beard and it's being stuck behind a mask all the time, giving me mask beard under my chin. So here we are at the metal recyclers. I've been told by the boss that the construction space needs to be completely emptied. My little storage shelves and everything that I've put in there, I've got to remove. Plus there was a whole stack of crap in there anyway. And they've got big skip bins, a big skip bin at the school, so a lot of the old timber and stuff is going there. Turns out the termites have got into some of the timber on the ground. I brought the trailer into school yesterday so that we could load up all the steel and stuff. And we got one load of steel done today, and I've got some aluminium in the trucker's tray as well. And this is the most full I've ever seen this place. There's barely a path around the back of the pile. The truck only just fits through it. It's the first time I think I've been here with the truck and the trailer, because I just noticed I just fit on the weighbridge. Front tyres on and the trailer tyres. I thought this guy in front of me had already emptied out because we were waiting for a big truck that was just full of fridges and washing machines and that sort of stuff to empty out. And now this guy's got to drag all this stuff out of his truck. This is going to take forever. Just have a look at this pile that we have to drive around. The pathway, little trail behind me. The car's behind me. The weighbridge is over there. Oh, thank God. This old fella's truck has it tips up. I thought I was going to have to wait for him to open that out, looking it out. There's some big heavy steel pieces in that. Now we wait again. But just look how tight this space is. I mean, barely any room to move. And it's busy, but there's now there's 3 utes ahead of me. There's the dude behind me again who's, because you've got to go and weigh in to re-weigh your vehicle, then do a loop again and wait, and I've still got to do aluminium down the front. But man, I've never seen this thing so full. One bonus though, the price has gone up. It was 350 bucks a tonne, so 35 cents a kilo. The most it's ever been before, anywhere in the years I've been doing this, is 120 bucks a tonne, or 12 cents a kilo for steel. So almost 3 times the price of the highest I've ever had before. So that's good. I had 360 kilos of steel, and I got more steel to get rid of at the school. Back around to where I was before. Almost. Look how much he's cleared this out. I was boxed in that spot before. Worthwhile trip. Had to drive out and park down the street because they're still a bit crowded in there. Got the other stuff all weighed. Aluminium and that sort of stuff hasn't changed much in price, but steel, that's a good improvement in price on the steel. Like, it's 360 kilos, got $126 just for the scrap steel lying around. That's good. More to do tomorrow. So home now, leave the trailer hooked up and just drive it back to work tomorrow. I think it's one of those things with dealing with recycling scrap metal, is that You got to decide whether it's worth putting the time into trying to separate stuff. Even with the increase in price for the steel from like 12 cents to 35 cents a kilo. If you had stuff that was non-magnetic stainless steel, that goes for $2.05 a kilo. Now I only had 1 kilo of it, but that's $2.05 instead of 35 cents. So you can see how if you have stuff, like there was a stainless steel microwave, a stainless steel coffee machine, but they're all magnetic. So it's just basically stainless over the steel base. And so they just consider that steel. And extruded aluminium gets a good price. And they call household aluminium, which was the aluminium in some of these extraction filters, like the aluminium mesh that was around them. They just call that household aluminium. Sometimes they have one that's called irony aluminium, and cast aluminium's different, like cast aluminium from motors and engines and stuff like that. So I've got some cast aluminium still. The only motors I've got are at home, so that's my own stuff. And all of that stuff there gets sent to a place called Sims Metals, which they process it all, sort it out even more if they can, and melt and smelter it and turn it into steel, aluminium, copper, all that sort of stuff, ingots that can be used again. So that's why I think it's worthwhile doing that rather than just chucking stuff. Now, with that improved price in steel, I think I'm going to have to get all those steel cans that I've got at home in bins, which I just started separating out at the start of COVID and been slowly filling the bins up. So whenever we'd have steel cans, instead of putting them out to recycling at home, I'd keep them in a bin with the intention of bringing them here. I dare say I've probably got quite a number of kilos of that because the bin feels pretty heavy, because I've been crushing them and really filling up the bin. That'll be interesting to see what that comes to. Just had 11 construction, but only had 4 students because there's a first aid course running today and most of the class is doing that. So we've been clearing up the construction space. You can see the trailer loaded up again. That'll be the 3rd load, and that's basically all of the old tables and some gates and stuff. The stuff that's on this rack I've got to try and put somewhere else because I need to remove the racks, including that one over there, from outside this space. I'm not allowed to have storage in here anymore, apparently. So that's one thing we're working on. We'll put some things down into the container and some things into the shed. But all that steel that I was really just trying to hang on to, just don't really have the time now to break the rest of it down. Happy Saturday. Weather's not the greatest today. It's been raining all day, on and off, but tomorrow's supposed to be nice. And I really need to level out the soil at the front of our property because we want to get a fence put up, and we've had some people out to give us quotes, and we've said, like, the first thing they said is, what about all that soil? And it was from all the clean fill that was dumped there years ago for us that we got, that my wife sourced. So I've just been down to our local hire shop to hire a front end loader, like a little digger, so I can dig the soil and dump it down the slope of the front yard and fill in some of those areas that are a little bit hollow and that sort of stuff, especially where I park the trailer. I'd like to be able to level that out for the trailer. I've just been down, I've hooked it up to the truck. This is the heaviest thing the truck has ever towed. They asked me whether the tow bar is capable of towing 2.5 tonne, and thankfully the truck and the tow bar are rated to 3 tonne. This is probably just shy of 2. The digger's 1.6 tonne plus the aluminium trailer. So I've got it for tomorrow or this afternoon, depending on the weather. But the way it's looking, I'll probably have to wait until tomorrow to actually do anything, plan out what I'm going to do. I've had a little bit of professional development on how to operate it. That is one of the good things. Like, as a construction teacher, I'm supposed to be doing things outside of work to maintain skills and show that I'm in touch with industry. And this is a perfect thing. Like, I've just been given an in-service on how to use a digger by the company, and I'm going to be spending the time using it. Be a fun new experience. And as I talk about the weather, it's starting to rain again. The truck's handling the tow quite alright, so it makes me feel good if we ever want to buy a caravan, that it's going to be capable of towing. Most of the traffic lights seem to start on hills, and 2 of the traffic lights I took off on the wheels spun on all the oil that drops at traffic lights onto the road. I may not get to anything this afternoon with it, but definitely tomorrow. I can drop it back on Monday morning on the way to work. So I've got that all levelled out at the top, or as level as it can be. Cut away this bit from the driveway so we can widen the driveway bit. Started trying to make the space for the trailer, but that needs to be compacted a fair bit or spread out more. Retaining wall, and that thing made life a lot easier. First time I've used one, it was great.